I know. The video is not gonna be the best. There's leaf blowers, the weather's not the greatest, and whatever, the cars are going back and forward. So, yeah, this video is gonna be about losing friends, how much it stings, and how we can possibly help each other when we are in this situation. I touched on this subject very lightly in my video about masking and losing, going back to square one just because masking has burned me out. I'm sorry. I have a phobia of like wasps and bees. I know bees are friendly. I know they're friendly little thingies, but I can stop being. Oh my god, one just came here. All right, focus. So losing friends is nothing new to me. Because masking. When you have to mask to be part of a friend group, it kind of everything revolves around your mask, and wearing a mask is not as comfortable as people might make it as. It's actually not very comfortable at all, and a lot of times autistic people, or people who have a problem showing their true selves, they would rather stay at home than go and have a social gathering with the people, even though they're friends, just because they don't want to keep the mask of being whoever the friend group wants them to be, or how they believe the friend group wants them to be, because not always we are good at predicting what the other people are thinking about us. Sometimes, we have very negative standard about what people think and how they see us. It's really not as bad as your brain makes it out to be. But anyway, when you get tired of my cat just peeked. He's curious. Oh shit. He just wants to know what I'm doing. Little kitty. Yeah, I'm gonna have to crouch now because my 3D printed phone holder that I have right here just broke trying to showcase my cat. So, whatever. I guess I'll have to print another one. Being a social chameleon, it's taxing. It's taxing on your mind and your body. And when you're in that mindset, I have to perform. I have to be good at being myself, this version of myself that I built. It gets so hard, and that's when you start losing some friends, because at one point you start drifting away. You start drifting away little by little, slower and slower, but eventually you're like, I'm kind of done with these friends that I have. And that has happened to me a lot of times. I've made so many friends during my teenage and 20s, but then I lost them all. I'm down to 0. Can you believe that? Yeah, I know I might seem like a likable guy, but that's the face that I want to put out on YouTube, because okay, it's time to be real. This channel is not making any fucking numbers. This is not about you. Like, yes, I'm making videos that could help some other people, but the reason I'm making these videos is because this is for me. I'm making this for myself. It's a letter that it's kind of like a letter. I'm writing a long letter by making all these videos, and sprinkle in this letter to myself. There's some self-help, that could or cannot help me and people who are like me. Anyways, yes, I have 0 friends left, and it stings. It all started when, I guess, I always, lost friends because of, I don't want to mask anymore. But then I lost a friend because I guess, I wore a mask that he really did not like. And it, it started with addiction, basically. I talked about addiction, so go see that video if you haven't. I touched on it I think it's a 30-minute video. So if you're not Gen Z, Gen X, fried brain, attention span ass people, then you can watch that video. And yeah, it started with drug addiction because when he came, he was my best friend for a decade, basically. Ever since I was in elementary school, he was my friend, and we did so much together. We did so many things together, and I have so many good memories with him. And at one point, I asked him to visit me when I was in the States. I was living in the States, and I was like, come visit me, why not? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was pumped, I used to love this guy, and I was so pumped because that was a part of my life that sucked. That year just was one of the worst years of my life, and I just needed one of my friends to be with me because I really had no one. And he came, and it's like he wasn't who he used to be anymore. He was very hateful towards women. Not, oh Jesus, so many fucking bees. And the occasional semi or SUV or tractor or whatever large fucking vehicle that is gonna just pass by me. But yeah, it was like he was really different. He was very hateful. He became very bitter about life and about women. He was like an insult, basically. He was talking about how his success with women was like part to zero, and how this thing affected him, but he said it in a very hurtful way towards women, to where he would call all of them bitches and stuff, and then the only reason he can't bone is because of them. No, it's because of you, stupid ass fucker. It's you. It's your personality, because they can sniff out that you hate yourself and that you hate them. It's not gonna work. But go tell them that, because he's one of those people that believes he's right all the time. Isn't that right, Max? You're right all the time, aren't you? If you're watching this video and I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You're never wrong. You're never ever wrong. At one point, this guy even he was changed as a person completely. Not that I wasn't. I was changed as a person too because of addiction. And this video is gonna have me looking like this because there's so many bees and I'm scared of them. He was so changed that, he started treating my girlfriend like shit too. And it was like he was completely changed. And at one point we were out sightseeing. I brought him out with my car, and we went to this hiking trail, and I spilled the beans. I told him, Max, I'm having a very hard situation. I'm battling addiction, and this addiction has proven to be really, really hard to beat. And I just want to tell you this because you're my friend, and because I feel vulnerable right now, and I need someone like you. At that point, it seemed like he understood me, And he asked me, how much does this cost you? And I was like, it cost me so much. It's costing me so much. I barely have any gas money, and food for myself. I was what I thought was my lowest, and he didn't appreciate that. He wanted to come there just to have a little trip, and I ruined his trip by being myself, which was being an addict. I was changed as well, which it's fair, but I wasn't an asshole to him, ever, and he kept being an asshole to me. He just kept going, and he would never stop being an asshole, and one day it just peaked, and he, my ex-girlfriend just told me how he's been treating her like shit, and this and that, and I didn't want to see him anymore, at least for the day. I wanted to talk about it, the day after, but no, he wasn't okay with that. I woke up the next morning, and he was pissed at me for not being at my place, for not being in my bed. He was so pissed, in fact, that when I went to get him out of the house and about, he brought all of his belongings, and he just started screaming the loudest I've ever heard him scream, and I felt fear. I was scared of him for the first time in 25 years of my life. I was scared. And he wanted me to bring him to the airport, which, what is this? What is all this noise? I'm so fucking overstimulated right now with the bees and the leaf blower or weed whacker, whatever that shit is, and all the noise. This video is gonna be messy, but I'm gonna put it out anyways, because this is for me, not for you guys. Fuck you. No, just kidding. I love you. I love you all, guys, and I hope this video helps you, but I'm doing this for me. Okay. Basically, my friend couldn't see. I remember saying, at one point I straight up told him, Max, the reason why I brought you here is because I need you. You're my best friend, and I'm in such a hellhole, that I built, and I needed a friend to pick me up, and tell me, I just needed him. And he scoffed, and he said, if you told me that in advance, I would have never come here. Is that what a friend says? Is that what a best friend says? That's crazy. It was like he was a different person. The old him would have said, I understand that. What would he say that? And it was very messy. Our departure, our separation was so messy, because he was screaming at the top of his lungs. He even put his hands on my ex-girlfriend. He pushed her. He was so angry. I've seen the devil in his eyes. He had such a devilish, mean look in his eyes. And that's the one friendship that traumatized me. That's the first, I've been losing friends ever since I was a little kid, but that one stuck with me. That one stuck with me. And and of course, losing my girlfriend, I've already talked about that. I have some online friends that I've made along the way, and they are fine. They're fine friends. It's just the thing that the thing is that I could never see them because they're so far from me, and I never see them. And sure, they're my friends, but the whole social aspect of that friendship, of those friendships, is totally missing, and it makes me feel like I'm lacking something. And my best friend in that bunch has stopped talking to me all of a sudden. I didn't even say anything to him. He just vanished. And it just reminded me of Max and how I lost my ex-girlfriend, and I just, wow, like, that hit me hard too. Now, I've been clean from my, addiction for over 6 months. Now I believe it's the 7th month of my sobriety, and it's hard being sober and alone, and I'm saying this as, it's so ironic because when I used to drug myself to no tomorrow, I had everything. I had all my friends, I had everything, and once I go sober, I lose everything. Every single thing I lose. I lost everything ever since I started sobriety. And my brain sometimes asks me this question. It asks me, is this even worth it? Wasn't getting sober even worth it? And I would say yes, because even though I don't have anyone, I still feel like I can conquer my life with my own hands, and I can control it, because I wasn't in control earlier. Even if it was making friends now, I could never, be a good friend. Now I can, but yeah, now I don't have any friends anymore. They're all gone, and if you're my situation, I want to help you. And I guess the climax wasn't even Max. Max was a big impact on me, but the biggest one for me was losing my brother. He invited me to this fucking club, and I'm not a club guy, but I had never do anything with my brother, and he's a club guy. He's a completely different person than I am, so I had to play a character for his friends and like entertain them like a fucking jester, and I had to play the bravado, like, fucking douchebag. And I did a douchebag. I did pretty douchebag things, and my brother went away because he thought that was the real me. He doesn't really know me. He doesn't know that that's just me putting a mask. He thinks that's how I am. He never understood me or tried to understand me, and that's fine. It's not his, it's not what he has to do. He's not bound to do it. If I had any tips for people out there who are struggling like me, kind of stick to these rules, okay? When you try to make friends, don't try to make a lot of friends. Just try to make one. and try to ask yourself, am I masking for this person? At first, you will be masking, probably, but eventually that feeling might go away, and ask yourself after like a month or two, is this a person that will have to be masking for every single time? Don't beat yourself up. I know that I know that all the friends that I ever made left me, not because it might be because I'm an asshole. It's not necessarily because it's all their fault. Some of it might be their fault, but some of it might be yours. I know some of it is mine, of course. I know which one was my fault, and I can be a bad person to be with. Own your mistakes, but try not to beat up on yourself. Try to do the opposite, pump yourself up. I know it's hard, but when you look at yourself when you were a kid, would you say that kid is stupid or a failure? You don't say that to a kid, right? As I heard a guy saying this, and it stuck with me. No, who was it? Whatever, it's gone. I don't know who it was. Find little things to do to stay grounded that you didn't do when you were with your friends that you lost. Like, I don't know, go for little walks like I do, or small little routines. If you have a hobby, do that, and maybe post your work in a subreddit or somewhere where people share your same interests. Having people that share a niche with you, there's potential for a connection there. And I just want to leave you guys by saying that losing friends hurts. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of everything. Sometimes things die, and death is needed for being reborn. I had to lose everything to start to build something again. I was building my life on fakeness and drugs. It just didn't work. Take care of yourself and love yourself. Try to love yourself. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. When I say love yourself, I'm not saying look at yourself in the mirror and be, oh my god, you're so beautiful, you're so smart. What I'm saying is, don't belittle yourself. Know your worth. When you do something, do it at your best, and look at it, and think, not many people can do this like me. Whatever that something is that you're good at. Know your worth. And with this beautiful, beautiful, incredible chirping, I leave you, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys. See you next time.